Hello there. I want to talk to you about the film Freelance. It's a thriller with action and comedic elements to it. The plot follows newly hired defense contractor Mason Petit as he protects international journalist Claire Wellington during her interview with authoritarian dictator President Venegas. The interview goes sideways and they find themselves in the middle of a civil war. The film was directed by Pierre Morel and written by Jacob Lentz. It features a large cast of famous actors, but is helmed by Cena as Mason Petit, Alison Brie as Claire Wellington, and Juan Pablo Raba as President Venegas. The story is told from Mason's perspective and starts by giving us his backstory and setting up a few of his relationships before he's sent off to protect Claire. He expects the job to be easy, but after a group of soldiers tries to kill Venegas, Mason finds himself leading Claire and the president through the jungle while fending off enemies from all sides. The cast features a bunch of different groups that participate in the conflict, but the film spends most of its time on a journey with Claire, Mason, and Venegas. The three of them are like a comedy troupe trying to survive a deadly conflict. Mason is the strong man who is also the most practical. He tries desperately to rein in Claire and Venegas' shenanigans while also pulling off a few stunts and a lot of sarcastic jokes under his breath. Venegas is a charming dictator who is surprisingly honest. He clashes with Mason and tries to woo Claire at the same time. At first, he comes off as a total moron, but after a while you start to notice that he actually does have all the answers. Claire wants to be a no-nonsense journalist with a worldwide reputation. In reality, she made some mistakes, was forced to resign, and now covers celebrity breaking news. So when she gets the chance to interview a dictator, she jumps at it. She fights with Mason and is a bit selfish, but also has a decent heart underneath it all. The visual journey follows Mason and his friends through the jungle on an endless escape mission. They run from men with guns, get into mini battles, find a village to hide in, and then they return to the capital for a big blowout finale. There are lots of conversations, there's a bit of action, one or two adult scenes, and a lot of shots of the jungle and the rural villages they used for locations. The action is a little bit of hand-to-hand combat with a lot of gunplay and some explosions. Sound-wise, the film uses a large scoop of background instrumentals with a few original songs sprinkled on top for a bit of flavor. The background instrumentals are mixed with Spanish guitar to give them an exciting sound and help support the emotions of the story. They also add quite a bit of style to the film. Let's start on the positive side of things. The story is filled with so much fun and excitement. It starts a little slow with its introduction, but once the trio gets out into the jungle, it becomes a non-stop action adventure. They're running away from helicopters and getting into gun battles with mercenaries. Jokes are flying left, right, and center, and you want to root for Mason and Venegas by the end of the film. They have this great dynamic between them that grows into something worthwhile. The general cast is doing a good job of portraying the frayed country of Paledonia and the different factors in it. There's the rebels, the mercenaries, and the people. At the same time, the leads carry the main story through good delivery and chemistry. Most of the screen time is spent running around with Cena, Alison Brie, and Juan Pablo Raba. While the three of them together have a good dynamic, Cena and Raba have amazing chemistry as a comedic duo. Cena plays the down-on-his-luck former operator Mason Petit. His character has a very serious nature to him with an undertone of sarcasm. Cena never quite pulls off the down-and-out look, but performs admirably as the action hero with spunk. He shows off good chemistry with Brie and Raba, but also stands out for how easy he makes the action scenes look. He gets to utter some hilarious lines under his breath and give exasperated looks in the background every once in a while too. He had me dying with all the faces he was making while Raba prattled on. Juan Pablo Raba as President Venegas starts as a mystery. He's presented as the dictator of a country and a ruthless evil man. When we finally meet him in person, he's actually more like a goofy kid in his dad's coat. He likes to flirt with every woman he sees, and he loves American movies. Raba plays him with a ton of charm and manages to turn an annoying character into a lovable one. You start off seeing him as some kind of pompous braggart, but slowly he breaks down your defenses, not by showing you some softer side, but by showing off his strengths. When put next to Cena, it's like watching a rambunctious young man with his stern older brother. Cena tries desperately to ditch him every chance he gets, but Raba finds every way he can to follow him around. Over the journey, their bond becomes ironclad, and by the end, it's a great bromance. The visual journey takes place in a beautiful country. There are all kinds of gorgeous outdoor aerial shots of the forests they're running around in, the countryside, and the cities. The journey is easy to follow, is filled with visual gags, and has some spectacular action shots sprinkled throughout. The soundtrack is catchy and fun, but also does a great job of supporting the emotional moments and building out the atmosphere. The original songs are used to punctuate a visual gag or to hype up a moment, and work well in both. The instrumentals are used for action scenes, tense conversations, and emotional moments. They usually punch above their weight class. There are more than a few moments where the music carries the story up to the next level and makes it feel larger than life. All that said, the film does have a few problems. The story is nonsensical in several ways. It follows a one-man army that never gets hit and never takes any real injuries while killing everyone in one shot. His enemies are supposed to be professional soldiers and mercenaries, and yet not one of them hits him or even comes close. It takes all the impact out of the action sequences. The film also doesn't go into any real detail on its storylines. We learn the broad strokes of why Venegas has people trying to kill him and the problems in Mason and Claire's lives, but they never give enough detail to make those stories satisfying. The story is also a bit fairy tale-esque, and the ending is too. It is a comedy, so they do get some leeway, but the topic of the film is a violent coup in a war-torn country, and the only deaths were a couple of nameless soldiers at the start and end. The visual journey doesn't have a lot of standout shots. There are big moments like when the helicopter is chasing them through the river, but they're few and far between. I did like the scenic views and a lot of the architecture, but they didn't do a lot with it. A lot of the action didn't have any impact either. It doesn't look like they're getting shot at for real or like they're in any danger, especially after they run 3 or 4 times without getting hit. Overall, Freelance is a funny action film that doesn't have much depth to it. Cena and Raba built a great bromance, there are lots of hilarious jokes, there's some good action, and the soundtrack is doing well. The writing is one note, but it sings its note well. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Bye-bye!